Hello, viewers. Thank you for indulging me. Like I said, these conversations are just thoughts, because I've been around and I've been involved too. Maybe more than many people know about, really. So because I've been around here and there, been there, done that, traveled far and wide invested time in education, you know, especially about leadership, nation building, and politics. There are some conversations that we shy away from in our country, but if you look at it, those are very difficult, hard conversations that should have, that should have happened, initial during the formative years. Every country has structures that they put in place. The Bible we read said that who is the man who wants to build a house, who will not first of all take time to, you know, do some analysis, what the quantity surveyors do for us, and so that when you build the foundation will become very strong. So today I want us to have one of those tough conversations about zoning of the Nigerian presidency. It's been on the table for discussion for many years, and we have slightly achieved a bit of it by doing it north and south. And we have done it even though not everybody has agreed. Not everybody, think that is the way to go. I should think the only time that we had a semblance of that north and south zoning, the only time we actually had something that looked like a national, agreement was 1999, when the whole country, for the first time in the history of Nigeria, were forced to vote between one Olu versus another Olu. So it was either you were voting for Olusegun Obasanjo, Olu Obasanjo, or you were voting for Olufalaye from the southwest. And I want to really, really thank the leaders of the country at the time that saw it as a very, solid path to follow to stabilize the country. But having practiced that for some time, and the way we have also, managed our national unity, our stability, cohesion, our politics, it looks like that it's time to actually have that conversation. Nigeria is made up of many, many ethnic groups, tribes, tongues, and people. But we know that there are fundamental ones. We sometimes we say we have three: the tripod of Igbo, Yoruba, and Hausa. The Jaws are actually very large too, and we have others. We have the Canaries, we have all the other Hausas, we have the Fulani, So we have many other groups, the Efiki Bibio people. They're also very, their number is also significant, and they also contribute significantly to the Nigerian economy. So during the Constitutional Conference, it's history. It's part of our history that some leaders proposed a six geopolitical zoning arrangement for the Nigerian presidency, a single-term zoning that rotates the presidency amongst the six geopolitical zones, so that everyone, because the truth is, yes, there is a country called Nigeria, But in truth, if we ask ourselves, do we really feel, do we have that cohesion, that unity, that national, that's patriotic approach to the way we think and relate with our country? Do you see yourself first as a Nigerian before you see yourself maybe as a Yoruba or Hausa or Igbo, Efik or Ijo? I remember listening to one of the revered leaders of Nigeria, Pa Abraham Adesina, when he said that he sees himself first as I think Ijebu or one of those smaller Yoruba, tribes, before he even sees himself as coming from, I think, Ogun, right? Yeah, Ondo. Then before he sees himself as a Yoruba man, that's the way he said it. Or then you now see himself as so Nigeria is in his identity ranking. Nigeria is just very last. So this identity crisis has been with us, and it has reflected so much in the way we manage our country. And I was in a very senior leadership conversation once, and I said, we talk about corruption, we talk about so many challenges that Nigeria has, but I think the one that we shy away from talking about is how our ethnic allegiance, our allegiance to our tribe, our ethnicity, frames every other thing, and the way we relate to Nigeria. So it's because sometimes corruption is not even the problem. The big elephant in the room may be ethnicity, because this is our time. Neutralizes a lot of things, when leaders are supposed to take very decisive decisions, whether it's about project citing, project financing, appointments, judicial issues, fighting crime, even the insecurity that we have been bedeviled with. Sometimes we see this tribal allegiance, ethnic allegiance, framing our approach to issues. So it seems that we have not really been able to properly deal with the identity crisis. And we are very smart people as Nigerians. Nobody can take it away from Nigerians that we're very smart. So how do we, create a system that gives some sense of comfort to every segment of the country? And I think one of the ways to do that is to introduce, implement, mainstream, and institutionalize in our ground norm, the Constitution, the principle of rotational presidency, zoning. Since we have agreed we have 6 geopolitical zones, it may be right to say, okay, to avoid this feeling of alienation, this feeling of exclusion, to give this everyone a sense of ownership, sense of belonging. Can we say we will zone our presidency single term 6 years across the 6 geopolitical zones? One round will be 36 years. And you think that this is such a long time. No, it's not a long time. Between 1999 and now, the other day we were saying, nascent democracy, nascent democracy. We've done this 25 years. And it looks as if it's just yesterday, right? So, and we can say, okay, can we start from the zones that have not tested at all, even if it's for one day? A presidency beginning from the time of independence. And we go to that zone and they produce a president. And, like those very courageous leaders, very thoughtful as they were at the time, made it in such a way that it was very solid. They said, okay, so we have 1 president and 6 vice presidents. And should the president, by any stroke of circumstance, either by death, impeachment, or any loses that office, the vice president from that zone takes to just to complete the tenure of that zone, and he moves to the next zone. I don't think that will be a too much of a sacrifice for a people that want to build a country that will be sustainably peaceful, cohesive, united, where everyone will see themselves as part of the country. So that's to encourage inclusion. It will also reduce the tension that we see during elections. The bad blood, the emotional investment people make. Whenever there's an election, people, once somebody from your tribe shows up, whether he's competent or incompetent, or you say, oh, no matter, even if it's anybody, whether even if it's a lemma, even if it's anybody, right? As long as he's from our place, right? Let him be there. We don't care, even if it's a dummy, right? So once you know that give and take, whether it's the next 6 years, 12 years, 18 years, 24 years, 32 or 36 years, it will show up, or it will come to my turn, then we know that the tensions, that we witness during presidential elections will naturally, drastically reduce. A lot of people have argued, oh, so it encourages mediocrity and all that, and I say that's a very lame argument. Nigeria is one country that I know that is so blessed with huge human resources. In every part of Nigeria, you will find some of the smartest people that occupy this planet Earth in all fields and spheres of human endeavor. There is no geopolitical zone in Nigeria that you won't find some of the finest in terms of character, capacity, and competence to lead a country like Nigeria, right? So there is abundance of manpower in every zone. So that's what I just want to say. So that argument that it enthrones mediocrity, no. It's a very lame. It's a laid back, because the reason why we will allow things like zoning for a period of time, we could say for the next 36 years or for the next 72 years of our country, we will implement a zoning, and after that the presidency will just be thrown open. And by that time, I also know the truth is it doesn't matter where the president comes from, as long as the person has the 3 C's: character, competence, and capacity, and has the drive, the vision to put the country. But we know that sometimes as human beings there are things we can moralize, we can allow the rhetorics to be there, but the fact is that in reality, we need to make sure that everybody feels safe, feels welcome, have this sense of belonging, that truly I am part and parcel of this country. So when I think that is the way to go. So for inclusion, to reduce the tension, and it's the most realistic approach to build national cohesion and national unity. By circumstances of life, we have been put together as one country, and we have refused as a people to peacefully discuss if this marriage should be sustained or be dissolved. We have refused. We have continued, especially our leaders, continue to force this marriage on very unwilling people. So if we must force ourselves into this marriage, because the bloodshed, the bad blood, the marginalization cry, the impunity, and all the things, all the trappings that comes from this lack of zoning, it's something that I think we can actually, as intelligent people, deal with it. What do you think about this? And I think that it's a conversation that we need to have. Nigeria has come of age that some of the things we try to avoid, yet they spring up every time in our national discourse. And most times we pay huge price for those things, including, the supreme price. We need to be courageous enough to hold those conversations as a people. So I feel I'm one of those who believe that zoning will calm down the system, calm down our politics, and stabilize the country. It's one of the ways to enhance inclusion, and that's the most realistic path to national, cohesion. If you think that's the way to go, let me hear what you say. And this YouTube channel will be available to continue to dissect and discuss fundamental issues about Nigeria. Not as a critic. I'm not going to blame anybody. If there is any challenge in Nigeria, we have all contributed to the challenge, right? It's not a critic, or I'm not an activist. I'm just a political thinker, right? Having been around for some time, being involved at some level, right? So some things, I understand some things, and I think that it's time we have these kind of conversations. So if you have any idea of how to push this, you're welcome. Like I always say, I don't have the brightest ideas, but I've been around. Some of these things, I've seen them at play. So I also speak from a position of knowledge, authority, and experience. Thank you for indulging me, and have a great day.